Hello friends, I'm Atul Dahale and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to look at one of the most instructive games of chess played by Aaron Nimzowitsch. Nimzowitsch was among the best players in the world in 1920s. He was famous for his games, but he was more famous for his writings. In 1925, he wrote a very famous book called as My System. In that book, he wrote about the various important concepts related to the positional chess. And that book has become like a must read book for any top player or any player who wants to learn the important elements related to the positional chess. And the game which we are going to look at shows the strength of the knights in the center of the board. It also shows the coordination, the importance of coordination between the pieces, and most important, like how to take advantage of your opponent's weaknesses. Nimzowitsch not only wrote the things, but he also always tried to implement those things in the game. In these games, he methodically creates a weakness in his opponent's camp, and then slowly and gradually he proceeds to attack those weaknesses with his pieces. And then once he gets the grip of the position with his knights, the opponent succumbs to the pressure and he resigns. So let's look at the game and understand how he did all these things. In this game, Matisons was white and Nimzowitsch was black. It was played in Karlsbad in 1929. So Matisons started with d4, Nimzowitsch played nf6, c4, e6, knight to the c3 and bishop to the b4. Of course, this system is named after Nimzowitsch. It is called as Nimzo-Indian defense, and it is named after Nimzowitsch because he played this system quite extensively and he always brought up some new ideas in this opening. So here white played knight to the f3 and Nimzowitsch played bishop into c3, creating a positional weakness in white's camp, that is the pawns are now doubled. And let's see how Nimzowitsch takes advantage of this thing. So he plays d6. The idea is to control c5 and e5 square. White plays queen to the c2, then queen e7. His idea is to play e5 at some point and open this bishop. Maybe it depends upon white's choice of play. White plays bishop to the a3. Now e5 is no longer a possibility because d into e5 or knight into e5 will not allow black to play d into e5 because this bishop is going to capture on e7. So black stops this bishop's diagonal by playing c5 and also does one more thing. He stops these two pawns from proceeding anywhere. The pawns are stopped, the weakness is now static. Okay, now in this position white decides to just ignore this thing and plays g3. He wants to complete his development on the king side. Black also plays b6, bishop to the g2, bishop to the b7, and then castles and castles. Both sides have castled now, and here in this position white decides to play knight to the h4 with the thought of exchanging black's important bishop on b7. But he could have done that thing by playing knight to the d2 also, because in that case the knight will at least be centrally placed and it will also protect the c4 weakness. Okay, but he played knight to the h4, which is not that good. Okay, black just captured on g2, and here in this position white should at least play knight to the g2 because he needs to bring back the knight towards the center of the board, but he doesn't do that. He plays king to the g2. And as I was saying, the pawn on c4 and c3 are weak and the main weakness is on the c4. So what to do in this position? So Nimzowitsch understands the queen on e7 is not doing that great job and the queen can be shifted to the a6 square. So how to do that? He played queen to the b7 check. Very clever idea. Then in this position, at least in this position, white should have realized that his knight is not doing that great job on h4. Knight on the rim is dim. So he should bring back it in the game by playing knight to the f3. But he doesn't do that. He plays king to the g1. Okay. And Nimzowitsch plays queen to the a6, attacking the pawn on c4, which is a weakness. His opponent plays queen to the b3 and he brings his knight to the c6. His idea is to play knight a5 and attack the pawn on c4 with two pieces and win the pawn. And also the d4 pawn is a weakness. So here if white realizes that his knight is not doing that great job on h4 and it should come back to the game, if he plays knight to the f3, then in that case black has a very good move. He can play knight a5, then queen to the b5 to protect, that is the only chance. then queen into b5, c into b5, and the knight lands on a weakness. Okay, the pawn is gone from that c4 square, but square is still a weak. Knight c4, the bishop is attacked, bishop comes to the c1, and the other knight goes to the central square, and now the c3 pawn cannot be protected and the pawn will be lost. So that is not a good idea. So in this position, white plays rook to the d1 supporting the pawn, and the knight jumps on a5. The c4 pawn is falling, so white must play queen to the b5. After queen into b5, c into b5, the knight lands on c4, and the bishop is attacked, so bishop moves to the c1 square. Now let's take a stock of the position. What is really happening? The black's knight on c4 is very strongly placed. Why? Because now it is controlling the important a3 square, b2 square, d2 square, and also the e3 square. One more thing is that it is also doing the defensive purpose of supporting the pawn on d6. Okay. Another thing is that this bishop will be restricted now. It will not be able to go out anywhere so easily. And because of this bishop is there, the rook on a1 is restricted also. And the rooks are not connected. They are not coordinating with each other. And one more important thing is that there is no piece from white side which can dislodge the c4 knight so easily, because there are no pawns on the b as well as the d file which will kick this knight away. So that is not a good idea. So but now what to do? In this position, Nimzowitsch understands the knight is very well placed, but his rooks are not there in the game. So what to do? He takes the pawn breakthrough to bring the rooks in the game. So he plays a6. The idea is to play after b into a6, rook into a6. The rook will be having an open file, and the a2 pawn which is isolated will also be a weakness and the target to attack. So in this position, finally white plays d into c5. But what should black play? He should not capture with the d pawn, because that will give an open file for the d rook. He plays b into c5, just maintaining the pawn in the center of the board. And finally white realized that he should bring the knight in the game. He plays knight to the g2, but that is too late. Okay, because now black simply plays knight to the d5, attacking the c3 pawn, and white has only one chance, that is rook to the d3 supporting the pawn. But what we will do now? Nimzowitsch played rook f8. Then the a2 pawn is going to fall, and in this position, very miserable position, he plays e4, trying to attack and dislodge the knight on d5. But Nimzowitsch was very sharp. He plays knight to the e5. The rook is being attacked. Rook must move somewhere, d1 or d2. Even if he moves to the d1 square, we can play knight into c3, and it is just a winning position for black. But okay, in this current position only, when the Nimzowitsch played knight e5, his opponent resigned. So we'll just continue for the sake of clarification, like what happens if he plays rook to the d1. And Nimzowitsch can play knight into c3. The rook is being attacked. It cannot be played on rook e1 because knight f3 check and will win the rook. He plays rook to the f1. Then in that case, the a2 pawn will also fall with rook into a2. Rook into a2, and if we want, we can still play knight f3 check, king to the h1, and then we will capture the a2 rook, and the e4 pawn will also fall. And with the game is also going to be over soon, because black will be having 3 extra pawns. So from this game, we saw that how Nimzowitsch methodically created a weakness on c3 and c4 pawns. The pawns were doubled. Then slowly he brought his queen to the a6 square, the knight c6, knight a5, he attacked the c4 pawn. Even the pawn moved to the b5 square, the c4 square was still a weakness. Then his other knight came to the d5 square, then he opened up the a file. He played so much amazing with some plan in action. He always thought about a plan. So from this game we can learn many things, that we need to play chess with small steps, small plans. And how white was playing, he was playing aimlessly, he was playing planlessly, he was not understanding anything what to do in this position. So this is really a great game with all these concepts related to the positional exploited in a very big way. So we should be thankful for Nimzowitsch for showing us these masterpieces through his games also and through his book also. So if you like this video, then please do share. We will meet again, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Bye.